So you've probably wondered where I've been. Guess what? Not unlike everything else that's gone on this year, camera guys have been difficult as well. Unfortunately, Omari got COVID and hasn't been back, and so now we've got a new guy that's shooting for us, and we're finally going to give you the update, which works really well because it's the very end of the year. So what better way to end the year than a recap of everything that's happened this year and let you know at the end where we're going to go for 2023. Are we going to make our goal? Because when we started this year, we had a goal in mind, and I think we're going to hit it. So let's get into it. So what everybody wants to know is where did we end up for the year? But before we get to that, I want to kind of talk about some of the things that went on during the year. If you remember right, our goal in 2 years is going to be $3 million in revenue, but not just $3 million in revenue. We want to do that profitably. At the end of May, we had only done $265,000 worth of revenue. Total income was negative $35,000. Now, that is if these numbers are correct. By the end of June, a month later, we had done $402,000. So June was probably our best month to date. $402,000, $846.60, and we'd gone positive with $21,640. Again, these numbers aren't completely accurate because we weren't tracking our inventory, and inventory is a big cost. So that brings us to what happened from January to May. Well, if you remember right, we go back and we remember that I had a whole bunch of employee problems. We're going to call them employees because those were not team members. There's a big difference between a team member and an employee, and those people were there for a paycheck and a paycheck only. Those people we can accurately call employees. They were not part of a team. They weren't helping us drive the ball forward. And then we actually started to find our team members. And that's when everything started to change. If you'll remember right, the first thing we did is we picked up Brian. Brian has been a great addition to our company. He brought with him another person from the company where he used to work, which was Clay. Now both Brian and Clay are running crews for us and completing jobs successfully on a daily basis, which has really changed where we're at as a company. The next thing that happened after that is we recruited some people from our good friends over at Mr. Fence, Panama City. So they were a little bit overstaffed and realized that we were understaffed. And so we talked about it, and between them, us, and Jeremy and Amber, we decided that it would be a good fit for everybody to have them come over here and work with us. And that has been one of the biggest things that has relieved stress for me. Amber has done a great job making sure that our customers are taken care of. Jeremy has done a great job of selling things. If you remember right, I think right before Jeremy came on, our last month of sales for Larry was only $6,000. Since Jeremy's come on, we have had regular sales that have boosted what the crews have to install. We've kept a good backlog of work ahead of our crews, so we haven't risked running out of work. And that has made all the difference in the world. I'm not going to say that there hasn't been days where I still want to pull my hair out, but they're a lot fewer and further between than they were, if you'll remember, when we were dealing with water lines and people putting fence in wrong. For one reason or another, instead of driving the string line on the face of the post like we typically do, we drove a stake clear over here and punctured a copper water line. And doing fence 3 times because we couldn't understand the process and how to do those things. So we've come a long ways. You'll remember that we parked a trailer in a ditch at some point in time. Wow. That's impressive. And it seemed like back then every day was a struggle, and now we're having fewer and fewer days that are struggling. More of them are going off without a hitch. So where does that leave us for the end of the year? At the end of the year, we did $1,220,583.36. Total profit, $38,230. We do feel like that's going to be fairly accurate. We put an inventory system in place. Now we have a way to control our inventory. We've put Job Nimbus in place. We've done a whole ton of automations through Job Nimbus. And so if I was going to attribute anything that we've done to a single software, Job Nimbus has been the biggest game changer for our company. That has made Amber more effective, it's made Jeremy more effective, and it's made our team more effective because everybody has access to all the information all the time. And we can all use one software to communicate very accurately and well with our customers. So that's where we ended up the year. But it wasn't without our hard-fought battles. And as we mentioned, we parked trailers in ditches. We ran through water lines. I don't think we removed any fences from the wrong property or anything crazy like that. We didn't have any wrecks, luckily, knock on wood. But we had some other train wrecks and they cost us tons and tons of money. The only person that we still have on our team that we hired back in the very beginning is Austin. Austin's still here. Every single one of our other original hires is no more, which basically means we've had almost 100% turnover. And I imagine that we'll probably wash through a couple more people before this is all said and done. But all that is going to lead us to the people that are going to be with our company long term. And that's what we're really trying to find. We're trying to buy ourselves time to find the people that will take us the distance. And that's what we have when we have Brian, and we have Clay, and we have Jeremy, and we have Amber. These are key players in our company, and that's what's going to allow us to grow. That's what's going to let us take this company from $0 to $3 million in 2 years, is hiring those right people. And that hasn't come without a cost. That's something that, I don't know if you've been watching these videos and really paying attention, but you're gonna have to pay for those people. Those people don't come for free. Jeremy and Amber didn't come over here and say, yes, I'm willing to take less money. They said, you know what, we know what we're worth, and if you'll take good care of us, we're on board. And it was me that said, I value that. And what have they done for me since they've been here? They've lowered my stress level and we've gotten more done. And it's all thanks to being willing to pay for the talent that's going to take us the distance. Same thing with Brian. Brian wasn't cheap, but Brian's doing an amazing job. So what are we going to do this year to make sure that we go the distance? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a change. I realized through all this process and everything that's gone on this year, I'm not the right person to be in the driver's seat. It's not me. I've got great people around me and I'm going to empower them to take the reins and do the things that I'm not that good at. I don't want to be in the business every day. What I want to do is I want to help grow the business. I want to provide the business with the tools it needs to grow. But more than anything for my own sanity, I need to get out of the way and empower the people that are going to take this company the distance. That's making sure that Amber has the power she needs to make the changes in the office. That means me getting out of the superintendent role and allowing people to step up. And my guy for that, that's Brian. Brian's going to do that. He's going to make sure that the warehouse is running good. And he's going to make sure that the crews are running good. And how's he going to do that? Because he's the best person out there for that position. He's been in the installer position and he's been around the warehouse enough doing stuff that he can make sure the warehouse runs efficiently so that everybody talks to each other and the crews get what they need. So I've got that in Brian, and that's what we're going to let Brian do this year. He doesn't even know that. At the time we're videoing this, he doesn't even know that that's what I'm going to do. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to replace Brian, because Brian, if he's doing that, cannot also run a crew. So we're going to hire some people and bring some people in one way or another to take his position. And that means that I've got to hire at least one more foreman, maybe two, and find somebody that can do gates. Because if I'm out of the field, I can't do gates either. I need somebody that's going to be a #1 gate guy. And here's the thing. I've got 2 people that I think are going to be amazing at that. And they don't know it yet, but they're going to come work for me too. We'll see if it works out. Time will tell if I'm right. But I think I've got 2 people picked out that I can recruit to come work with us that will be an amazing addition to our team. One of them could easily do the fences, and another one can do fences and gate operators. He's got a great background in electrical. I took both of them out on a couple projects a week ago as subs, and they showed me what they can do, and I'm really impressed with them. I think they're struggling to build their small company, and I think that they would have a really good home with us if we just showed them the love that they need as team members. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to step away, put Brian in charge, put Amber in charge, put Jeremy in charge of sales. I have another salesperson that is looking at coming over here from another company, and if we can bring him on, that'll help us attract more commercial customers, and we can attract a couple more foremen. We're off to the races. I think $3 million next year is not even going to be a problem. I think that we'll race right past that and probably keep our profitability as well. So if you followed along this year, you haven't seen anything yet. Stay tuned, because next year is going to be even better, and hopefully you'll see how I take this company from $0 to $3 million in 2 years or beyond, and I get out of the driver's seat. And I think that's the real problem that most people struggle with. If we really get down to the heart of the situation, I think most people struggle trying to get their company to where they can step away and still have it make money. That is the #1 thing I believe that everybody struggles with. And the people that have trouble with that and try it once, give up, and then just say it's easier to stay small. But the problem with staying small is when you stop working, your income stops coming in. And really, if you want to be anything other than self-employed, if you want to own a company, you've got to get it to where you can trust the team members that you've put in place and let them run with it, so that when you take a day off, everything still rolls. That's been my definition of success from day one. It's not been a dollar. It hasn't been a revenue. I'm sure I would like to make all the profit in the world, but my number one definition of success is being able to have a company that runs without me. And that's because I want to empower the team that's around me to go and take really good care of the customers without me having to be there every day. That's success. As far as I'm concerned, if I can do that well, I feel like the profits and everything will follow. That's 2022. Stay tuned for 2023. I'm Mark Olson with Successful Contractor. Until next time, you have a good dang day.